Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, welcome. It's nice to have all of you here. We have a question right from the start from Jennifer. So Jen, you are on.
So I just had a question. At what age can our girls join the Mothers of Influence? Is it 18? Is it 20? Like,
Oh, Mothers of Influence.
yes.
We don't have anything specifically. Um, so 18 would be a good kind of probably average age to consider.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if there was like a boundary or something for it.
Yeah. No, no, no. And let me see who we have on here. Kira, Emily, Madeline, Melissa. I'm guessing it's Melissa McCarty. Catherine, it's nice to see you. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna guess 18. That's what I would suggest. Madeline turns 18 uh, officially in July, but she's very mature for her age. So she's done so much more of the work than a lot of moms that are in the community. So I figured we need to let this girl in. So
I love that. I love that
yeah,
you're here, Memory.
yeah, it's great. She's been to a lot of the events in the community and really is enjoying them. So I love that. Madeline, I won't put you on the spot, but you're free to share if you feel like you have something to share today. But I promise I won't call on you today. Okay. All right. Well, we have had a lot of things going on in the past week. So some of us have been able to share those things in person, others virtually. We can talk a little bit about that. I'm hoping you all saw there is an event tomorrow in the community, 12. Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe, is that what we said? 12 Mountain Time. I'm excited about that. And that is a conversation about, well, Shannon, you're unmuted. I'll let you share about that.
I think it's actually 1 o'clock. There's two moms from the group who are coordinating it. They're just using my Zoom account. So I think it's 1 o'clock time.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. I can't keep it straight. So I check my phone, I don't know how many times a day just to remind myself of when the meetings are. So thanks, Shannon. Okay. 11, 12. So maybe it got a little bit different. So it does say tomorrow 11 a.m., which would be in my time zone, which is Pacific. So that would be noon Mountain Time, and then 1 your time, Shannon. Okay, so anyway, if you can hop on there, because that'll be a lovely discussion. I'm sure it's Mercedes and one other mom that are hosting that one for tomorrow, Mackenzie Rollins and Mercedes. So that'll be lovely. Okay, so thoughts. Anyone have thoughts they want to share right off the bat? Because that would be great. We'd love to hear from you. If there's something you're thinking about, something you're studying from Catch the Vision or Mothers University, or questions. If you've got questions, we can ask and see what other moms have to say about that.
I have a super practical question.
Yeah.
Is the Music Together classes part of Bellam at Home, and will it be part of Bellam at Home next year? Because that was my absolute favorite part of the conference, was her doing those songs together, and I was like, oh man, we've been missing out. Like, we should be doing this. And so I was really curious. We were looking at Bellam for next year, and I didn't know when all of that was finalized or that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yes, it's there. She is already preparing the things for next year and super excited about it. Yeah, we get to have Miss Carrie again. That is a highlight for a lot of families. People were taking pictures of her and her son and her daughter that were there because they love seeing them on camera too. Mamas were taking pictures to take back home to their kids. Look who I saw.
Yeah. Awesome. That's like celebrity, like when you're in a certain little group of people, like you can be a celebrity, like no one knows who you are, but to us, you are something special.
Yeah, exactly. That was super fun to see that. So yes, ma'am, it'll be fun to have you in there. What are the ages of your kids, Catherine, if you don't mind saying?
I have 7 kids. My oldest is 12, and then they go like 12, 11, 10, 8, 6, and 3, and then I have a 5-month-old, I think. So we're just moving into the junior high stage. I'm super excited to find out more about the teen clubs and some of that stuff because we're just getting into that, so far it's been really easy because like I just set the standard and this is what we do, and now they have opinions.
I know.
Not quite, not special interest. I'm not quite prepared for this. They want to do their own thing.
Right. No, that's a transition for sure. Is your oldest a boy or a girl?
A boy.
Okay.
My 12 and 11-year-old are both a boy and a girl, and so they're both their oldest in their own right.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean? They're both the oldest boy, the oldest girl, and so they really both have very different, but they're all both firstborn.
Yeah, I love that. That's funny. There will be something for the boys in there too, but there's Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies, and that we've lowered the age, the starting age in there to 10. So it's 10 to 20, and it stayed that range. So it's fun. I love that these kids will engage with each other regardless of their age. They realize that doesn't matter in most of the things that they do. So that's really sweet. So there'll be something similar for the boys that we're working on right now. So that came up over the weekend too. So that's fun because I have set up a little Pinehurst Academy for Young Men, trying to just in the background, it wasn't visible, but just thinking forward about that. So it'll be fun. Okay. Thank you for your question, Catherine. Other thoughts, questions, experiences? Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, I did lower the age. I tried to put a little note there, but I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Shannon when she's done eating her bonbons and, lying on the sofa this week. She's packing up her whole entire home and moving right after the conference and with all the Bellam stuff that is going on. Yeah, Shannon's Wonder Woman, in case you didn't know.
Sorry, I just heard my name. I'm packing the playroom. What was your question?
You are amazing and wonderful. I was just saying that I was going to ask you for help on something because you were just lying around on your sofa eating bonbons. So.
Yeah, this is, let me see here. Can I flip this around? This is what I'm attacking right now, is putting all these in boxes.
I told them all what you were doing, and I told Shannon the other day, I said, oh my goodness, I wish we'd all stayed an extra day and gone to Shannon's house for the next activity to pack her up.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. So my question, Shannon, is, so you can think about it while you're packing. How do I can put a post, but not everybody's going to see it. But in Bellam at Home, how do I help these families know that the age has lowered for Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies? And is there a way I can, I don't know. Anyway, so think about that. Or if you don't mind me making it you making it an announcement or something like that. But consider that, because there have been plenty of moms who don't know that, and so they've kept the girls out. They probably watched the introductory video, or I don't know.
So are they, it's still 11-year-olds?
10.
Yeah.
I just decided to do a 10 to 20, and that just.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably on an intro video or something. I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
Yeah, I think so. But if there's a way to kind of, neon light 10 to 20 or something, I don't know. Yeah, just add that to your list of things to do, Shannon.
I'm planning an intro to all the teen clubs and stuff soon. I was working on it this morning. But yeah, so we can put that kind of information out on a giant post.
Yeah, perfect.
That's in my to-do list, yeah, as you know.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Shannon, for everything you do. It's pretty amazing.
Can I ask a question about the teen clubs?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to, my kids really want to get more into it, but I've been one of those people who's like, my kids will never be on screens. And so we have my husband and I have our own phones, And then my kids, we have like a home phone that's a cell phone that they can use, like if we're leaving them to and they're babysitting, so they can call us. And then we have one tablet and one desktop. So sometimes it seems like to do the teen clubs, I'm like, I don't want to get them all their own device, but sometimes it seems like it would be handy if they could each have their device, because sometimes things are going on at the same time, or I have a meeting and then they're missing their meeting because I'm using it. Or so I'm just curious what other people do, how they kind of manage that, because I have really seen the value and it's really changed my tune with, okay, like this device isn't yours, but just to have more devices in it.
Right, right. Well, I'll tell you one thing, we do try so very hard to not overlap. I'm really, I'm working on a better calendar system so that I keep really good track of both Belmont Home and Mothers of Influence communities. And Shannon has helped with that by changing Belmont Home to now have this events section, just like we have in Mothers of Influence. That's fabulous. That's another big thank you to Shannon, because then we'll be able to see those 2 event calendars and plan our own meetings accordingly. So it's trying to do those 2 communities plus our personal, the other meetings that some of us have in there. So, but anyway, we are trying really hard to not overlap. So there, you shouldn't have that situation come up. And then the clubs we're working with each other to not overlap. So it should be okay. And what I love and think is really sweet is for several of the families who have multiple daughters, multiple age, they're all on the screen together, which is really sweet. And that is one of the benefits of homeschooling, is that your kids actually get to like each other, you know, and they don't hear that it's not cool to like your siblings and be friends with your siblings. So they just continue with it. Sometimes there'll be a couple that are on different devices, and for whatever reasons, that's great too. But it's fun to see them together when they can be.
You know, Jennifer, I've been reading The Anxious Generation by Haidt is the author's last name. I can't remember his first name, but he talks a lot about screens, and he's talking about the phone childhood, you know, screen-based childhood and all this stuff. But it's really interesting when he's talking about the different research, how there's a total difference between like a screen in your pocket, like taking it with you, that feeling of connectedness, versus like a desktop or an iPad or something that you like that sits where it is and you can move it, but it's not going with you. And so I know we haven't gotten to this point yet, but I'm totally opposed to this idea of giving my children their own device, like one that is yours and it's in your pocket in your room. But we have multiple screens. We have to, even just for audiobooks and stuff. But I find that they're not the same sort of pull as I feel with my phone, as opposed to them on the laptop or something that they can set up in various places. But I think that the idea of community screens is, I mean, we have to have multiple ones. Just, I think we have maybe 4. None of them are nice by any means. You know, like several generations too old to update, but they still get on Zoom, so we're okay. Like they still use Audible, so they work. But
Right. No, I love that though. And I love that difference between, and I agree with you 100%, something you're carrying around with you and that ownership, entitled kind of a different feeling, and then just something you go to do the task and then you walk away. So yeah, I love that. Shannon's cheering. I love it. So thank you, Catherine.
That makes sense. And I like they usually are on the desktop. I think part of the problem is right now we only have one chair in front of it. And I'm remembering too that that's been a fight. So I need to get more chairs to put in front of our desktop. And then I think I was mistaken. It was like some of the friendship circles, not the teen clubs. So I do feel like the teen clubs have been trying to plan to not overlap, but I was like, oh no, it's not teen clubs, it's the friendship circles.
Yes.
So there's like a friendship circle that was meeting at this time that I was having to be on like one of the little living artfully little 15-minute things, and then I just totally forgot, and then my kids are like, oh, we forgot to get on that, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, so I think that's what it was, but maybe
Sure.
I don't know. I don't there's no I don't know if there's not really that's not the community's job to fix that. It's the friendship circle.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you figuring that out and sharing that with us. That's so hard though, trying to organize all that. If you get it figured out, tell me, share your secrets with me. And Shannon, that's funny. I almost said maybe that was one of Shannon's kids because Shannon's busy packing. She doesn't have time for that. And she said it was her 4-year-old that was cheering. I love it. Oh yeah, I love that, Melissa. Melissa always has really good ideas. We have an old phone that can't update anymore that we dumbed down specifically with their music class app, Mighty Networks, PDFs they need and such. We can take it and use my hotspot if we have a meeting on the go. Smart. That's a good idea. Okay. Well, oh, we've got ladies coming in. Adele is here. Adele, I hope you're doing well. How is everyone? How are all your boys and how are you?
Everybody's doing good. I'm doing really well. Little one is sleeping and,
That
you
was
know,
so
keeping
nice
me up at night, but he's so sweet.
Good. Good. And that was so nice of him to wait until you were full
Yes.
before he came.
Yes. So good.
We were all praying for that. So
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. It went really beautifully.
How's mom feeling?
I have been up and down, but doing good. This, I think, is the first time my husband has ever taken a break from work. And, you know, we didn't have any family come this time. And so he volunteered to take a couple weeks off, and that has been so good. So good.
That's really sweet. And I think just
Yes.
the fact that that when they do things like that, it's so appreciated. Just
Yes.
knowing that they would do that is lovely. In addition
Yep.
to
So that has helped a lot.
good.
So I have a few more days of that, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more like myself and a little more capable. So feeling good.
Good. Well, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you so much.
That's wonderful. Okay, that gave you mama's time to think, what is on my heart? What do I want to share? What do I need to talk about? Can I really open up to these ladies? Isn't it a wonderful thing? It's such a beautiful thing. You come here and share and know that you're supported, that you are lifted up by these beautiful women. I love it. And I shared at the very beginning, and I'll do it again at the risk of embarrassing her, but we have our youngest mother of influence on with us. Following the definition of mother being one who nurtures, not necessarily, you see, she's blushing already. She does not have a child. She's 17, going to be 18 in July. And she's completed Catch the Vision. She loves reading the forgotten classics. She's done a lot in the Libraries of Hope, and she was our first graduate of Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies. So Madeline is here with us, and it's nice having her here. There she is. Thank you, my dear. Okay. Yes,
Well,
Catherine.
I can share some things. So I guess this is my 4th month maybe in the community doing this at all. Like, it sort of, we come from Charlotte Mason, which I thought was very similar, but I have soon found out that it's not. That this is a different, like a paradigm shift for me in a lot of ways. And so I have started reading the Methods book in the reference library. I guess I didn't know that set of books existed. So I just started the second one, the Methods, because my brain is like, how do I do this? Like, give me the specifics. And then, of course, in the book, she's like, starts with, I'm not going to give you the specifics.
Yeah.
But I read this section, and it was like these 6 principles about nurturing your own heart, and the children will follow, and the principle about don't require them, like requirement sort of like kills learning, like when you force it. And I asked my husband last night, I was sort of giving him the highlights, narrating this to them, and I have this fear still of like, I don't know if I believe this. And I asked him and I said, do you believe this? He was like, what? I was like, all this. Do you believe this? And he's like, 100% I do. Like, I've never seen this man more confident of anything ever. And he told me, he said, what you're doing right now is 10,000 times better than the last 6 years of you stressing and trying to reach a mark, a benchmark that we could not do. It's like everybody's enjoying everything. And it's little things like my children coming to me yesterday. My 8-year-old's like, Mom, I want to learn Spanish. And I tried for years to get them to do Spanish lessons, and they hemmed and hawed and dragged their feet and ignored me. And then now all of a sudden, I have my 6-year-old's like, yeah, I want to learn French. And I'm like, what do you even know about French? But here we are at the table. I've got out my phrase book, and they want to know how to ask for a Band-Aid in Spanish because that could be useful sometimes. And I'm just like, see, if I leave them alone 4 months, like if I leave them alone and step back, all of a sudden their brains kick on, and now they have all these things they want to know, like how to say I want a Band-Aid in Spanish. And it's just been a beautiful thing. But I just thought my husband's confidence of like, oh no, this is better. Like, we're going to keep doing this. Let's do this. It just felt so reassuring because I can be flighty. Like I kind of be flighty. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Let me buy this curriculum. And for him to have such assurance was like, oh, okay, so this is God's direction. Okay, I can settle in here for a minute. It was just a really beautiful thing. So
I love that. I love hearing about that. And I love just watching you be so excited as you're talking about that difference. And it is so, it's just such a relief when you realize, oh my goodness, I could do this very natural thing and it would work. It could work. It could bless my family. And then to have your husband be all on board is just a huge bonus. That's wonderful. I love it. I love
I
hearing.
think something.
Yeah, go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just interrupt. I don't even wait to raise my
Oh,
hand.
it works. It works.
I think what you were saying about Charlotte Mason, I think what's happened with that, because it is very Charlotte Mason inspired. Like Marlene is very shares quotes from her, and she's definitely studied her, but she went farther back than Charlotte Mason too, from who Charlotte Mason learned from. And I feel what's wrong, maybe not wrong, but misunderstood today from a lot of the Charlotte Mason curriculums and all the things that have been put together is they've taken the heart out of it. Like they've taken the heart out of what Charlotte Mason was really going for. So of course, like teaching your children narration and all the other things, I can't even think. I'm driving, so I'm using my brain for that. But all the things that she talks about and has shared, like those are all really great things, but like they just have removed the heart-based learning from it. And that's where Marlene has really captured that. So I feel like it does work with Charlotte Mason, but only if you are feeding their hearts. And that's kind of what it's doing when you're taking that step back and kind of letting them, I don't know, I don't even know the right way, because I feel like I always say the wrong thing, and then people are like, well, it's not really that, but it really is not, like, as long as you're not forcing them. And a lot of the requirements and standards and everything, they're just so off base that it just messes with, I don't know, just takes out the heart. That's all.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good description. Anybody else who's familiar with and loves Charlotte Mason, but has embraced Well-Educated Heart, have thoughts about that? Anything anybody wants to add? I just have to move something because I have this point coming out of the top of my head and it's bothering me. It's silly, but I have to move it.
I was going to say that I think, am I muted? Okay. I was going to say, I think for me, I took Charlotte Mason. This is how we implemented it. That was the problem. I don't know that the message, like, I don't know that she is the problem. I think it's me. Like it was me, but it became, we were doing school at home. And like, I think I might be done homeschooling. Like I want to live life with them and then be like, I want education, but I feel that in my soul. Like I kind of done with the schooling thing and the schedule and the having to do this. Like that's the part that sort of sucked all the joy out of it. And so all the books and the narration and the stuff, like all the feasts, that's beautiful and lovely. But as long as I don't have to schedule it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it does.
exactly, exactly. No, I love that. I love that. Emily.
I'm trying to remember, Jen, were you there? Was it Beth Boyle that said we've got to switch our phrasing, our terminology? And she said we've got to step back away from home schooling. She lived abroad, and they really, really stressed, like the community really stressed the idea of home education, right? You are not doing school at home. We don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to, they don't want to, like, nobody wants to do school at home, but we all want an education. Like, that's so much fun. There's so much joy in that. So much, I don't know, like life fulfilling in
Mhm.
education. So if we just switch our terminology, it also helps our mindset, right? To be like, oh no, we're not sitting down at our desk doing school. We're educating our minds and our hearts.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. We stopped calling it school just because of we picture, a room and a bunch of students and desks and a schedule and that's not what we were doing. But I loved Charlotte Mason. I loved what she started. I loved so many of her ideas. So I think Catherine, I think Jen's just is saying like the homeschool community has changed what she originally shared. Very few of them have read directly from her words, and they've created something different. One of the things she said was 6 to 8 hours, 5 to 6 hours outside. Well, how do you do that? And this crazy curriculum that some people have developed and called Charlotte Mason curriculum, So yeah, I love the freedom that we have within this, being given this pattern of learning and then following what we feel like is right. And I love this, Melissa, we call our home learning joyful edification. That's so great. And then Kenzie says, and then I'll go to Mary. Hi, Mary. I found Charlotte Mason and loved it. It was how I wanted to homeschool. But hold on, let me let somebody else in. But over time and following people, it still just seemed too structured. I don't know, it began to feel off. And then that's when I found Well-Educated Heart. Since my oldest is only 6, oh, that's awesome. We, sorry, that was my comment. We get to really embrace the play, art, nature time right now. I put the preschool, oops, I'm gonna scroll down, preschool and kindergarten on hold because of Well-Educated Heart. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, Mary, my dear, it is your turn. Mary's got a cute little one at home too.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Because sometimes my earbuds aren't
Yep.
very loud.
You're
Okay.
great.
So as she just said, I've got a 8-week-old, but I found I just want to go history of because they go with my thoughts. I found a Well-Educated Heart in October 2022. I did it really well. I like read digital books, like the digital books to my kids till probably August 2023, and then I got pregnant, and like it was just really good for my heart. I just like was really open. It just really opened my heart, and it was awesome. And then like May 2023, we had some financial challenges. We had to get on assistance from our local congregation, and it started to harden my heart. And that's slowly been hardening until finally this week, like just 2 days ago, I'm like, I need to get back on Mighty Network and I listened to a lot of the Dr. Wally presentations and the ones by Marlene, live with Marlene on the Expand the Vision. And it was just so refreshing. I was like, okay, this is the vision I want for my homeschool. And plus we did a kind of an online charter school where we had to do learning logs, and this last year we could get some funding for stuff. Since we're having financial challenges, I thought that would be good to do, but I think that kind of threw off the heart-based learning as well. I'm like, okay, I just want to get back to that heart-based learning. And I was sharing with my husband about he's like, what changed in you? Because like you've been like grumpy for a long time or something. And just I've been stressed because my baby was in the NICU and that was my first experience with it. He's home now and everything, but just I'm like, it's just I started listening to these presentations again on Well Educated Heart, and I started getting back into it. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, and he could tell the difference because I was more loving towards him and towards kids. And so I hope to continue on that journey and not get stuck in, because I was thinking of getting on and asking, okay, how do you guys get your kids to do their chores and all this stuff, and how do you inspire and not require? And because I was just, that's the place I was at like 3 days ago. I'm like, I'm just going crazy trying to handle a newborn and a messy house and all the stuff that comes with a newborn. And but I'm feeling better now just from listening to those few presentations. And I hope to be on the live ones that are coming up. I put reminders in my phone this time, and hopefully I'll be available to be on those. And I know I just want to thank all of you that have known about my situation and have been praying for me and my family. And just I loved watching the conference from last Saturday. I was able to watch that live, and then I watched some replay stuff because I didn't catch all of it. But I just love the focus on the heart. And I've been kind of do some Charlotte Mason habit training too, and that seems to just drive me batty too. So I do want to, I feel like my kids need some more habits and routines, but I just need to remember to focus on the heart because it makes me happier. And I started making a list of things that I like to do just to make me happy and to fill my heart. And so I can do those because I can tell the difference. I know when my heart is starting to close off, I become very sarcastic and critical, and everything bugs me. So I can, that just helps me know my heart. But anyway, I just rambled a lot, but that's what I wanted to share for right now.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I think that's so amazing that using this pattern of learning, adding those lovely little things in just here and there, just bringing that little bit of beauty into our lives. It really does impact our hearts and our relationships. I think that's so amazing. Yeah, Jen.
So this conversation is reminding me too of, I believe it was Shannon who posted a quote, and I can't search for it while I'm driving. So hopefully you either remember what I'm talking about or I do it some sort of justice. But a quote that was kind of about how we should be living our life, like during the daylight hours, living our life, and that's the education that we're getting. And then at nighttime, do our studies. And I felt like that quote really gave me so much permission, because I find that that's kind of how I naturally want to do things. I either want to study like first thing in the morning, but then the day gets going, and then I want to be living my life. We want to be having breakfast, and then we want to go outside, and then we want to do all these things. And then I find it's like 2:00 and we haven't done school yet. And that's how we've always done it. We just never have. And for the most part, I'm fine with it. But every once in a while, there's that little voice in the back of your head, whoever it comes from, that creeps in and is like, oh, you didn't do school again. But I'm like, no. Yes, we did. Like, so living the life, and that's the education. We're learning and growing together all day. And then all night, like my kids will just sit in their rooms. They go to bed at like 8 or 9. And then all they do is sit and read books until they fall asleep. And then we have talks about it and things like that. So I'm like, what? Like, why? That's the hard part, is trying to separate the schooling from the education, is all these requirements and really just arbitrary things that society has placed on how it must look. So I really appreciated studying like great lives and things like that. And that's one of my favorite things to study, is like, okay, well, what did their day-to-day look like? And C.S. Lewis, like, half his day is spent just walking around. And like that is learning. You're letting your brain go, and I don't know. So it's just reminding me of that. And Kira also mentioned the Rhythm of Life, I think the podcast, if I remember right. And that too, like, is such a helpful thing when we're trying to kind of let go of these preconceived notions that we have to be doing school at home. But anyways.
No, I love that. I love that reminder. And it was Shannon that shared that. I remember that too, Jennifer. You know, it's what I'm trying to help moms understand when I make them nervous and suggest that they take 6 months, you know, off of any school. Anything that fits in that box for you, just don't do it for 6 months, and just get to know your family, play with them, enjoy them, explore things, wonder about the world around you, and you will see, oh my goodness, look how much more learning happened. Look how enjoyable that was. Look how much relationships have grown and become better. It's amazing what can happen if you really can let yourself let go of that model, all the different parts of it that are still stuck in our heads that we think somehow we have to integrate that in, and just let our family rhythm kind of dictate what we do, follow the things that we're interested in. And you can add in a little bit of structure after that when you learn how much learning can take place more naturally, then see what structure you need to add in and add it. But I actually had 2 moms take me up on that, so they're doing it, and yeah, and having really good experiences, so that's kind of fun. Okay, other thoughts or questions or anything on a completely different vein? You know, we can go all over while we're here. We like to jump around and have fun.
So all this talk about education has me thinking, so Marlene's quote about us giving our children an education to prepare them to live lives of maximum joy. And in the in-between moments of my day, for me, I've gotten thinking, okay, so beyond preparing my children to live lives of maximum joy, I'm an adult. So now what does that look like for me? I mean, obviously I'm trying to help and prepare my children, but so then is the extension of that my job as a woman is to live a life of maximum joy? Is that, anyway, I don't have answers. That's just where my mind starts to wander to. Is that the next step? Is that what I'm trying to achieve for myself?
Well, you asked a question about that somewhere a couple weeks ago, was it? You were kind of wondering about that. Either it was in a comment or it was one of your posts. I don't know, Kira, but I loved it because I think, wouldn't we be modeling lives of maximum joy for our children if we're teaching, training, nurturing them, right? And so isn't that why it's mother first? It's not like we're going to perfect it before we start teaching them, but we are living that life and learning what comes from it. And everyone around us is benefiting from that, from this person who is beginning at least to live a life of joy. And then when we get to that part where we are approaching living, I think we can live a life of maximum joy. I really do believe that's not, that's different than being perfect. I think living a life of maximum joy is absolutely possible. And we got Shannon's confirmation. Yes, living a life of joy is for mom too. Yeah, I think it is so important. I'm going to share this story again. Poor Kira and Jen already heard it in the book discussion an hour ago, but I and Emily and Shannon, because they were there, but at the conference. But I flew in to Missouri, but I tried to fly into Missouri, and I had a little bit of a hiccup, and it was not my fault. I would have gone directly there had it been my choice, but since the airlines were set up to go Dallas and then Missouri, I had to comply. And so I got on the airplane in LA, and we just got the doors shut. Because I was so helpful with that, but I'll be modest. It was mostly the airline people that did that. But so the doors got shut and everything, and the captain said, okay, we're ready to go. We're ready for takeoff. And then he comes back on. He said, just as I was getting ready to release that brake, I got word from the tower that Dallas is shut down. We're grounded or whatever for a while. But since we're all loaded on and we've got the air conditioning, we're not out on the tarmac. We'll just stay here and kind of see what happens. So 2 hours later, we finally take off. We fly the 3 hours. We get there, and we arrive there with everybody else that was waiting at other airports around the country to fly into Dallas. And so it was first come, first deboard. And so we're waiting there for a couple of hours, 2.5 hours, I think, there. Closer to 3 probably, before we got off the airplane. And so then we get off the airplane in Dallas, and I'm there with thousands of people who most of them were not very happy. It was not their best day. And they were all trying to get out of there. I had already set up and missed 2 other connecting flights. And there were no more flights going out. So, and then because most of these people, I felt like everybody deboarded before me, but the hotels were not, they were full. Rental cars were $635. So I said, well, that's not happening. So I spent the night in the Dallas airport with a whole bunch of other people. And I felt cheerful the whole entire time. Like I never, not in the plane, not in the airport. I couldn't get out until the next afternoon. And this is not like, oh, I'm such a great person. Okay, this is not that story. This is, wow, how did that happen? How did I have this experience that's not what you want. That is not how you want things to work out. And I was missing out on all these things that I was going to get to help with, setting up, just being on the property and meeting with these people earlier and anyway, I was looking forward to that. So I was missing out on all of that, and I still felt cheerful. I felt cheerful. I felt peaceful. I felt calm. And the next day, even when I was getting, you're nice, Shannon. Even when I was getting messages from the airline that your flight's been delayed. Oh, your flight. I'm kind of going, I don't really want to do that again. I mean, I'm even with that, I was fine. I was great. I felt good. And it's because my heart has changed, and not just a little bit. I've been doing this way of things from the time I started with my children, but then adding on all of the beautiful things that happen when you're connecting with other women, and I get to do it every single week. And now I'm doing it, multiple times a week with all the different Zoom discussions and things. Those connections are so important. So important. Filling your heart. Well, you don't even have to fill it. You could just I've said this, you could just put a few drops in. I mean, the more, the merrier it makes you, but it really does help. You put some of those good things inside of you. Don't start with your kids. Don't go and I don't have time for me, but we'll do. No, I'm sorry. You need to do you first. Even if you skip the kid part, take care of your heart. Your husband, your children, your friends, your sisters, your whatever will thank you. This coming together and talking about what warms your heart, what stirs your heart, what helps you feel happy, what you've been learning, all of these things coming together to do this changes you. I have been doing this with a group of women for 4.5 years, and we've all changed. We've become better people. We've become sweeter, kinder, more patient, more receptive of the good things. And it's incredible because it is a very noticeable change. There are husbands who make sure their wives are free during the time period that we meet because they've noticed such a big difference. And it's the connection, the sharing of these beautiful things. Okay, I have to see what you girls put down in here because I don't know what you're saying. Okay, Shannon said, I'm a second witness. She was texting me throughout all this and had a good attitude through it all. See, I'm not lying. We joked that if you ended up not making it, you'd be enjoying a simple beauty conference yourself there at the airport. Oh, you guys are too nice. That's funny. I did make friends. I even have phone numbers. I of the ladies that were sitting by me in the plane. And there was a young girl that she was looking so scared. She was a college student, but she'd just never been in an airport all by herself before, you know. So I called her over and said, "Do you want to just hang out and sit here? I'm going to be here all night." You know, so we have opportunities. We have opportunities all around us to just be a light, to help other people. And even if we're shy, you know, we can smile at somebody and it makes a difference. We feel better. They feel better. There were just multiple things that happened in that airport that I thought, oh, this is a good thing. It's probably not a bad thing that I'm here. Anyway, but I just felt so grateful that it was a different experience than it could have been. No. And which experience is better for you to have? You know, being frustrated, angry, upset, discouraged, whatever, or feeling settled, you know, and even cheerful. I'm attributing it to these things. You guys share if you think it was something else, but that's what I think it was. And like I said all along, it surprised me. I kept thinking kind of, you know, out of body, wow, you are doing a good job. This is great. So it was interesting anyway. Have any of you had experiences where you've been different? You feel like you've handled things better lately, you know, in the last while? Obviously Mary has, because she shared that her husband noticed, right? Hold on, where'd she go? And Catherine, she's got full support of her husband, and it's got to be some because he notices how things are. So anybody else have experiences where you just feel like, wow, I did better there. You know, good job. Don't be afraid to share, because I just shared my whole big old story. Adele.
I can share.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So a couple things. This has been a really big week and a half, I guess, for me. Some of you all know that my pregnancies are considered high risk because I've had multiple early babies. And so some of you all have been praying for us that this pregnancy we could go to term. So we did. We got to 37 weeks, which they consider babies no longer considered early once you get to 37. And then I ended up with some kind of condition that meant we needed to induce like within the next week. And I've never done that before. And so I was really nervous about it. Some of you also know that I'm autistic and ADHD, and we're actually very resilient when we know what to expect. I think I handle a lot and I do really well. But when plans change or when you just don't know what to expect, and just the experience of anxiety can be so high. And excuse me, and I recognize this time that through all of the unexpected things and the sort of more fast-paced, like quick decision-making things that we had to do, I had like the clarity of mind to do some of my like preventative things that help me avoid panic attacks, like reaching out to friends and family to say prayers would be helpful right now, and was just really clear-headed about talking things through with my husband. Once we were at the hospital, I was expecting to see my doctor and instead had a nurse come in and say they were going to start an inducement plan that I had not discussed with my doctor. And I didn't get upset or overwhelmed or just go along with it because I was overwhelmed, which I have done in the past, where I would just say yes and do what I was being told, even though I was wildly uncomfortable with it. I was able to just say how I felt, say what I needed, took time to think about things. And in the end, I chose a radically different plan than I had ever considered before and was just filled with peace over it. And so much gratitude, like all the way along, like so much gratitude for everybody who was helping and serving us, and
Interesting.
for how well everything went. And we talked recently in this group about kind of the role that mindfulness plays in when we're more mindful, we handle life more skillfully. We have more space between life happening and our reaction to it, you know? And I think it doesn't have to be a formal meditation practice, because that's what we were talking about before. All of this well-educated heart stuff is very mindful. It's very intentional. We're focused on and listening to our own hearts. And I feel like that's what happened in this process that is different from all my other pregnancies and all my other deliveries. Everyone is different, but my reaction to this one was completely different, where I was clear-headed and I was calm and peaceful and full of gratitude and able to make decisions that I felt right about, rather than just going along with what I felt like somebody else was telling me.
Yeah.
So then the other thing is, 5 days later after baby was born, my grandfather passed away. And it's hard to be far away from family and have that be going on. He ended up with some rare form of cancer, and it was just a couple months and he passed. And I have, in the past couple of years, been through a number of losses. And my reaction, again, this time was very different. Of course, I'm in mourning and I've got to cry sometimes. And it's hard, like I said, to be far away from family at this time. But I made a choice about how to take care of my heart. And I made a completely unexpected choice. The thing I chose to do was to start listening to Little Women on Audible and like a full cast recording. And I haven't listened to audiobooks for a while now, but for some reason, while I'm taking care of a baby and trying to rest, that felt like the thing to do. And it was so beautiful. And there were all these phrases that would stick out to me that were just breathtaking. And it felt like such a blessing to be going through so many life changes right now, which typically could, put me on edge, and I could be close to panic attacks frequently. And I'm just totally different now, that I'm able to settle and let these words nurture me, and these ideas and these images. And it's a joyful, uplifting book, but they also experience loss and death, and they have to face that together. And so it was just completely unexpectedly exactly the right thing that my heart needed in this relationship. Okay, so I talked too long, but there it is.
No, I love it. I love it,
Okay.
Adele. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That was beautiful. Good examples. Emily. And then I know we'll get to Michelle too, because Michelle had something to share earlier. So Emily Snow. Yeah.
Okay. I will just share. Lori touched on it, and I think Adele illustrated it, but I felt at a time when I was at rock bottom, completely struggling, kind of outside of myself, like Lori said, I was able to see how gracefully I was able to approach life and right, the realities that I was facing, because of how much attention I had put toward my heart. That it didn't I didn't just get caught up in the whirlwind and everything. There was a place of peace and calm and strength and like ability. Like I felt like, okay, I can get through this. There is still light and hope and love and joy, even in the struggle. Joy no matter the circumstance. And really, it was just the thought that came to mind while Lori and Adele were speaking. Like that, I hadn't really connected to that thought, that I was given grace to get through because of what we do here.
Yeah. Thank you, Emily. Thanks for sharing that. I love that. Michelle, my friend.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I have these new little thingies. I stepped into the 21st century. So I have these new little, so I just don't know if they work.
Yeah.
I'm trying it out today. Anyway, I loved what Emily and Adele said, and I think I can relate a little bit to Adele, not knowing that I've never been tested for being on the spectrum, but I definitely know I've got ADHD and also dyslexic. So a lot of what she was saying resonated with me. Unfortunately, I didn't know that back in the time when I was having children, but I appreciate hearing that from her. I was actually, mine goes back to what you were saying earlier, Lori, about taking the 6 months off with your child. And I was just thinking that now for me would be a good time to do that because we just are finishing up the year. We've been going through a charter school here in Tehachapi. Well, I think it's all over California, but it's called Heartland. But I've decided to go completely on our own. And so I think I want to take your challenge and taking the 6 months off. But like you were saying, it's hard, even though I've been involved with the Well-Educated Heart. I think I found it I think it was 21 when I found it, 2021. But it's still hard because all of those things keep going through my mind. Like, is this the right thing? Should I do this with my child? Am I doing the right thing? And then, sometimes you get different looks from people when they ask you about what you're doing. So, I guess I hope I know what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And I guess like you,
I'll
go
cheer
ahead.
you on. I'll cheer you on.
So I guess my question is, I guess I don't really know how to do that. How do I do that? How do you take that time off?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy idea. And I'm gonna combine what you were talking about with something that Crystal was sharing. And she shared it directly with me just because she wasn't sure if it would come out right, sharing it with everyone. So Crystal was talking about how sometimes you're doing this, you're nurturing your heart, you're trying to do this, you're bringing this well-educated heart experience. Whoops, I'll let Jennifer back in. Hang on, keep finding my mouse. So you're doing all of these things, but you're not seeing the difference in your kids, and in fact, maybe it's even going a little backwards. And so these kinds of conversations can be discouraging because you're wondering, I'm taking her general message and then I'm adding up from other mothers to it, experiences that I've heard. But she said, but Crystal did say specifically, for whatever reason, I have hit a brick wall when it comes to leading by example. I am trying again with more intention right now. I'm in more Zooms for me, reading out loud more with my kids because I want to and not because I should, and letting them just play without feeling guilty for not getting the reading and writing done. I want Catherine, think about this for a minute because I'll probably ask you to share a little bit, because I loved how you described the change that kind of how you changed what you were doing with your family, with your kids. But the thing is, the key really is, and I know it sounds simplified. I know it sounds like too easy. And I'm not saying your journey is going to be that it's just going to be, I can't think of words, but that the kids are just going to be jumping for joy when they get out of bed in the morning and, Mom, what are we going to do today? I can hardly wait, but there will be a shift, even if the only shift is you, even if your kids are still struggling, even if they're deciding, they're choosing to go. Crystal left, so we're gonna, oh, there she is. Okay, good. Even if they are deciding that they don't want any part of it, they have that agency, they get to choose that, darn it. But they do. But even if it's only your heart that shifts through this being brave and trying to feed your heart and let the rest of those expectations go, it will make a difference. It will help you feel the joy. You will be living a life of joy. And though you'll be disappointed that your children aren't on board right now, they probably will before they die. You know, it's train up your child, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Not when he's a teenager, he will not depart from it. He never says that. And we need to hold on to that as mothers, because we've been given this stewardship responsibility to teach and train them. We do our best. We try. We love them and we try. And if we feel like, well, I didn't do this before, I did all these other things because I thought that was best. Yes, you did. And he knows that. And he'll help you. He'll make up the difference. Now you know this, and now you're doing this, or you're stretching and trying to figure out, can I do this? Can I be brave enough? Can I let go of all the things I thought I had to do? But you're still doing what you know, and you're trying your best, and he knows that. And he will again help you. If you're involving him, please involve him. Don't leave him out of it. Pray for help. Pray for your children's hearts. You know, pray to know the right thing to do on a daily basis. What is our focus today? What do they need? And he'll tell you. And it'll be different probably than what you had on your list of things to do. Be brave enough to do it, and he'll help you through it. And even if they choose something different, you can still live a life of joy. It's just, it's a hard and scary thing, but it's true. Yeah, Emily, hello, my dear.
Hello. I'm sorry if this is going off of, like, I was kind of, these were kind of go back to what Adele was talking about, but then also what you were talking about was like how you were fine during your travels and how it just, like, to you, it felt like a miracle. Something that I was thinking about is I recently was listening to a bunch of Gordon Neufeld lectures last week. I've been taking courses. It's like I'm kind of hyper focusing on that right now. Like, I've always wanted to be like, if I were to go to grad school, this is what I would want to do. I love studying this stuff. And something, well, there's two things that I want to share. The first part that was like it was kind of hard to grasp at first was there was this whole idea of that we need to allow ourselves to feel sad more often. Like, sadness is the most important emotion. He said sadness, like, it indicates a person's well-being, being able to accept sadness, and how accepting that sadness allows you to fully have an ending, to be able to move on to a new beginning, to be able to accept futility and to become adaptable and all of these things. And it was really like hard to grasp, because it was like our society so often says, look at the silver lining, always try to be positive. So then I was like, okay, well, what's wrong? I was like, okay, we still need to feel our sadness. But then there was one thing that was shared by one of the lecturers. She says, when I was a mom and I was new with like Gordon Neufeld, working with them, and when I had young kids, I just kept thinking, I'm so frustrated. How do I stop? Like, how do I get rid of this frustration, right? This emotion. And she says, that's not the answer. The answer is not getting rid of it. It is filling your life with the goodness. It is having like an equal feeling that can temper it. So like your caring or your love, somehow finding a way for that emotion to be equal to it. So you're not trying to eradicate the negative. It is filling it with a positive that then can temper it. And then, I don't know, it was shocking to me. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, when I'm encouraged and when I feel like the Lord inspiring me, I need to find things to be grateful for in those moments. Or when I fill my heart with goodness from Well-Educated Heart, it fills it, that it like overcomes the negative. I don't know. And so that's what makes me think of all this Well-Educated Heart stuff, is really the mom's heart first, like filling our lives with so much goodness, immersing ourselves in all of this heart stuff is what helps temper those opposite things. Okay, can you wait one moment, honey? Thank you. Just please wait. Oh, okay, I know. Just one moment. And then Okay, and then another thing that was, well, actually, I need to go help her real quick.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can share if I get a chance.
Yeah,
in a moment.
no worries, Emily. Thank you. But I love that. I love that. We do. We need to feel. And we have these stories and these great lives and things to feel all the emotions and be able to feel them and then resolve things. I think it teaches us and helps us to be able to do that. I love that comment. And we're going back to Catherine because I said we would do that and I forgot. But I want to hear what Catherine has to share as kind of a follow-up.
Yeah, well, when you were talking and sharing about that idea of like our kids not responding the way we hope them to, and the thing that I've realized over the last few months, especially, is that when I put a time limit on their heart change, I'm falling back into the old habit of thinking I have to schedule the things out instead of trusting that the education is between them and God, and realizing that there are so many years of unschooling and unlearning that have to happen in their brains, that I have this change because I've had this big experience with Well-Educated Heart, but they have to be introduced to that again and again until it changes them, until God's Spirit takes that and really impresses it on them. And it's not going to be on my timetable. And I also think that idea of entering into what they love unconditionally. So for us, that means setting aside time every day for my kids to work on coding. I don't think they're going to be I don't want them to be video game designers when they grow up, or like Pokemon card designers, like these things, but these are what they love. And when I have carved out space in the day and given them my attention for the things they love, it's kind of like a reciprocal thing where now we're on the same team and I have their hearts again.
Yes.
And they're a little bit more open to the things that I love. Like, hey, you guys want to dance with me now? Like, I just spent an hour sitting here with you watching you do video game stuff. So why don't we go upstairs and do something I want to do now? And there's a reciprocity there, I think, that I've discovered a little bit. But I just think that idea of having, it's a trusting game. Like, you have to trust so deeply that this is right, regardless of how anyone else responds. Like, that is between you and your husband, or you and your partner, and you and God. Like, if you all are on board, then you just trust it and wait. And I think the blessing comes in the waiting for it to happen.
I love it. I love it. That's so good. I'm writing down things that you say, Catherine. And I'm probably going to contact you outside of this because I want you to share those thoughts again. That is so important. Those ideas of, when I put a time limit on their heart change, that we do that. How often do we do that? Oh, look at him. Sweet little baby boy. Yeah, we do that. We put that time limit on, and it's so hard because we want to feel and know that we're doing the right thing, and we don't see them responding the way that we want them to. Oh, that's just a painful thing. And then we question what we're doing, and maybe sometimes that is pricking, our hearts being pricked, right? That is a good thing for the Spirit to tell us, hey, you know what? You're not probably doing that as much as you should be, or you need to get serious about this thing or that thing. We live in a world now that doesn't accept that. Like, that's not okay. I'm doing fine. I'm always doing fine. There's nothing wrong with what I do. It's just so crazy, those ideas and thoughts. But to realize that, no, God can say, you need to do a little better. We need to make some changes here. There's nothing wrong with that. Accept it, embrace it, and move forward. I think that's such a good thing. I loved Mercedes' comment. I find that I put a time limit on myself. Yeah. Oh, I think we're very good at that, right? And I haven't done all the things I should have done, whatever. We need to celebrate the good things. Yeah, Mercedes, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, for me, it was actually, yes, I'm like, I have so many things to do and it has to fit in some sort of schedule or whatever, but I was also just thinking about how this is a lot of inner work that needs to be done, but like, I find that like, I think, how come I'm not making X connection or Y connection? Or how come I didn't think of that? You know, like, what am I doing wrong that I'm not feeling like I'm on whatever level of someone else might be in like a moment of a conversation? You know what I mean? Like, it's so unhealthy. But that's kind of what, and I think I've been doing this for like, you know, I don't know, 18 months, a year or so now. And I just like, I should be in a different place than I'm in. Like, that's how I feel about myself, and like, not even necessarily about my children, because my kids are doing great. Like me, I'm like, I need to, and it goes in phases, you know, where we spend a lot of time filling our hearts, and then, you know, we go through phases that are a little more dry, where we're not as focused as we probably should be. And so anyway, so that's really kind of what I meant. Like, I just feel sometimes like I'm not progressing as quickly as maybe someone else is. And that this honestly, like, just occurred to me as we were talking. You know, we're talking about putting time limits on children, and I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm doing that, but I do feel like I'm doing it to myself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
No,
I should be further along. I should be doing better. I should be making more connections. This thing that everyone is saying touched their heart didn't really feel a whole lot. Like, why? Like, what's wrong with me? That's where I have just realized that I'm struggling.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you realize that. I love how things like that happen and you realize something because of the conversations that you're having. Yeah, Connie. Hello, our mysterious friend. Welcome back. It's nice to have you here. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks. I need to get faster at getting my camera and mute on. I have to go sit down in a place
You
so that
don't.
I can talk.
It takes me a long time, so don't even apologize.
So you're talking about kind of feeling bad and things going on, and I just had a couple days, was it yesterday? I was feeling bad because somebody asked me what my hobbies were now. And it took me a very long time to think because I'm so busy with doing normal mom stuff, and there's a lot to do in a day, especially when I have 5 kids, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know that or maybe have felt that feeling too, and I was feeling really discouraged. And then I was listening to the conference because I didn't get to see it on Saturday, and Laura, you had said something about the what makes me happy, the smile, what fills my heart, what makes me grow, and I listened to that part. And I was really thinking about that. And I realized that I had one of those aha moments. So I don't know if it was like a spiritual, you're doing better than you think. But I thought Bellam and Well-Educated Heart kind of are my hobbies right now. I might not be specializing, but I'm getting a really broad education that's making me happy. And so it was it was nice to be uplifted in that moment to realize that this group, I said group therapy because it kind of feels like group therapy when I talk to everyone. I need this and I'm grateful for it. And for now, I'm grateful that this is my hobby. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah, Connie, thanks for sharing. I love that. I love that. It's funny when Marley talks about it. She said when she goes to explain to people what it is she does, and that kind of goes with, you know, what do you spend your time doing? What are your hobbies? She just says, I do this thing and tries to tell them about what Well-Educated Heart is, which I love. Okay, ladies, anybody that can hang on, there's a question that was asked that I really like, and I'd love to hear what your answers are. So this is from our youngest mother of influence, who is leaving for college in the fall. And she said, and she questioned whether her question even fits, and I think it fits beautifully. How can I find this heart learning in my college classes that I'm not so fond of, and just classes in general? Anybody want to attempt that one? I think it's such a good question. Do you see this? To have somebody who's searching to find that in those areas, it's just such a good thing. But how could she do that? What are some ways that Madeline could approach her learning, her college classes, she's got ones she's excited about that she knows she'll love. There she is. That she knows she'll enjoy very much, but others that, you know, are necessary, but maybe not so much. Catherine.
Oh, I was going to say that you should get to know your professors. because most of them are at some deep level passionate about what they teach. They did this for a reason. And I think that shared joy in something, even if it's something you don't care about, like take time to go to office hours and just ask them about why they teach this, or come up with a question or something. But I think that just getting to know them and having that personal connection can spark the joy in something that you're not crazy about.
How do you feel about that, Madeline?
That makes sense. But they for a reason, like, but get to know them for that reason. I guess right now I'm concerned about like the classes that I'm in right now. I've been doing concurrent enrollment online for a while, and just this semester classes, one that I love and the other three I'm just trying to get through. And some of the professors are really hard to connect with. I think it's just because it's online, and sometimes it's just hard to connect with people online. But I don't know. I hope that in the fall when I'm in person it'll be a little different, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. I think I really love Catherine's advice, those suggestions, Madeline, and I think it'll make a big difference. I think it'll make a big difference. And in person is different. Yeah, Mercedes.
I'm super thinking on my feet here, but there's several, I mean, some of this sounds so trite because unfortunately some of the things that we do like they're trite for a reason. You know, we're told to do certain things for reasons, right? But I think that you can pray to feel something about it. You can, you know, even if you're not able to connect with the professors, because I mean, I went to college a long time ago. There was no like online anything when I was in college. So it was in person and there were office hours, and like if you wanted to, you could really get to know your professors. But, you know, and I took some classes that I just didn't like. And that kind of leads me to my second thing, that there are some measure of hoops that just kind of have to be jumped through, and you have to kind of be like, okay, I have to take this class, not thrilled. Maybe you don't like the professor, maybe you don't like some of the things that they're saying, but I think that any acquisition of, you know, good and true knowledge is a good thing and can be looked at in a way that is heartwarming. But I also just really, just as you were talking, I was just, because this is always my answer too, I think pray about it. And I know that sounds so like, just pray about it. Pray about it. And tell Heavenly Father what you want, that you want to not feel like this is drudgery, and you want to not feel like you're just counting the days and like, you know, and there are just going to be days like that. But that if you're really seeking for like connection to a subject or, you know, a topic, that there's got to be one out there somewhere. And Heavenly Father would be the person who could point you to where that is. Because, you know, I can't imagine college right now. I think about my children and I just think, oh my goodness, because it's just such a different world from when I was in college. And I can't even imagine how much of a struggle that this kind of thing could be but I just love that you're like worrying about this, that you're thinking about it, because that means that you're going to find it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that will help her find it. And I love your advice. And I know what you mean, you know, just you give these simple answers, but that's where the power comes. That is absolutely right. I love that. I love it. Okay. Anybody else have anything to comment about this for Madeline? Yeah, Connie, thank you.
So I can just jump in as another witness of that. I actually wrote down what Lori had said about praying each morning to see what we need to teach our kids. And that's the exact thought that popped in my head when that question was asked, that each morning ask to see what you can learn. And I know, because I've had experience with it sitting in class, God will tell you when you ask for help, you'll know what doesn't sit right with things that are taught, and you'll know when truth is spoken if you keep that connection open with Him. And online classes, were so hard to connect with anybody. At the university, my online classes were the hardest ones. So I think everything that you said, completely normal. Some classes you'll do really well with the teacher and connection and the people in the class, and some are harder. So
Yeah, I love
good luck.
it. I love that. Thank you, Connie, for sharing. I agree with that. Amy, would love to hear from you too. Hello.
Hi. Hey, I agree with everything everyone said, but just kind of to add on top of it, I think like your college years are kind of your time that you can be a little bit selfish in that this is your time to learn as much as you can. And so I remember taking classes, you know, we all probably have that we have to jump through those hoops and do those things. But I also remember on the side, and maybe I was just a big nerd, but I had my own studies, my own books that I still looked forward to. And so maybe some of these classes are drudgery right now, but if you have something to look forward to on the side, you know, you get the work done, and then there's other things you can still be learning also. And that, like, now is your time, because as life progresses, it gets busier and a little bit harder. And so just finding a book or, you know, nature or anything that excites you will kind of keep, I think, that fire inside of you.
Yeah, and great advice. So good. When my daughter went to college, she had an aunt that said, I know you're going to be looking for those A's. I know that that's kind of your personality and you want to do that. And she said, but B is for balance. You know, B's are great. And if you just look to get B's in your studies, this aunt said, and you have a good, healthy balance of schoolwork and individual pursuits, hobbies, whatever, getting out in nature, being with friends, that balance is going to bless your life and help you a lot. So I love that. I think that's awesome. Oh, you ladies have done such a beautiful job. Thank you for taking time, sticking around and taking time for Madeline. Madeline, do you have any thoughts or anything to share?
I think it's all great advice that I'll definitely be taking.
Great. And here's another one in the chat. Connie added, I suggest taking fun classes too. I took a bowling class and the history of rock and roll class, and it helped me with balance. And then Melissa said, I wasn't good at this, but I did host a weekly movie night. We watched lots of old musicals. And
that's a good idea.
That's right up this girl's alley. She knows, she doesn't really know modern movies, but she knows all the good black and white movies. So that's a good idea. Those are good suggestions. Okay. Anybody else? And anybody else have anything? And Amy, you have your hand raised from before. That's not for now. Is that correct? I'm gonna guess that is right. I love that you're all here from all the different places and things that you are involved in doing. That's just so great that we get together. Oh, Crystal says, I awarded myself with country swing dancing on Wednesdays after homework. You like that one too?
That's my plan.
Good. Okay, I love it. Now we're gonna have to hear from you how you're doing. You'll have to check in every once in a while in between class. Okay, I love it. Well, thank you everybody for being here. It's lovely to get together. Really, really good. So I hope there's something good that you took from being here. And I mean, really, everybody was contributing. So we're always blessed for that too, for sharing a little bit with each other. I think that just makes those connections stronger. That idea of knitting hearts together, it just is, I can see that. I see it. I see these ladies and these relationships just coming together, and being able to see it in person. You know, I can see it virtually, but being able to experience what happens in person because they've connected virtually was really, really amazing. I loved that. So I hope you don't feel alone. I hope you realize that you have support, and even when it's hard, you've got friends that are here for you. So thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time, and maybe tomorrow. Don't forget that thing is tomorrow at whatever time it is. I don't know, I keep getting it mixed up, but tomorrow, the Simple Joy discussion about the conference. So, okay, thank you. Thank you.